Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to another Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jacula.
And we just got back from watching The Dark Tower, the latest Stephen King adaptation based on his epic Western fantasy series, I suppose we could call it.
Of the same name.
Of the same name. Well, technically, the franchise is called The Dark Tower, but none of the books are.
Yeah, correct. It's like The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, The Dark Tower, The Drawing of the Three,
exactly.
The Dark Tower...
So it's one of those where the franchise has a name, but the individual books are all called something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the story of Roland, this gunslinger who has been following this man in black who wants to tear down the Black Tower, which is an interdimensional,
Axis Mundi.
Yeah, it's like an access point for every single dimension, and if it falls, all the dimensions will collapse in on themselves.
Yeah, and demons will invade.
Yeah, and demons will invade. So he's got to stop the man in black from doing this, and that's the plot of the books. It's the plot of the movie.
Yep.
But it's a very interesting case because the movie's more or less a sequel to the books, while also being its own thing. But I can't go into how that works until we get to the spoilers. And yes, when we get to the spoilers, we will also spoil the books. So
yes,
you've been warned. That being said, it has been forever since I've read any Dark Tower book, so I'm probably going to get details wrong, and I apologize.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I've only ever read The Gunslinger.
Yeah, and Gunslinger is one of the better ones.
Yeah.
It's a really good book, especially the rewrite he did later when he went back and fixed all the details.
Oh, that's right.
Because
the
original
two versions of the book.
Yeah, because the original version had a couple of differences that would become continuity errors in later books, so he went back and fixed it. It was kind of like George Lucas did, almost.
Yeah.
But in a way that actually worked, because I feel like the rewrite is a better story. The Dark Tower movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
I have a feeling that if you haven't read the books, it might be a little harder to follow than if you are familiar with the books, because it's really fast-paced.
Oh, yeah, this movie is really quick. I felt like if there's one actual legitimate criticism you can have of the movie, I think it needed about another 10 minutes of just breathing room.
Yeah. Just, you don't even have to change the events. Just, space out some scenes a little more.
Yeah. A few more pregnant pauses, a few more, lingering shots, just a little bit. A little more
scenery atmosphere. Like Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings it a bit. Yeah.
Just to give it a little bit of breathing room, because this movie moves at a breakneck speed the moment it starts, and that's the opening scene. It starts. Yeah. And it just keeps going.
Yeah. It's in a way, this is very much like The Never-Ending Story or The Last Action Hero.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking Last Action Hero when I was watching the movie. The dynamic between the kid and the gunslinger are very similar.
Yeah, it is. And obviously the filmmakers kind of picked up on that. And they were like, okay, so it's this kind of story where the kid enters essentially a fairy tale world, but it is not a nice one. It is a very nasty
one. Of the big differences, I would say, between this movie and the book, though, is that there's a lot more of a sense of humor between the interactions between the boy and the gunslinger in the movie than there was in the books. The books was a little bit more serious. It had its sense of humor. The fucking Lobstrosities is a good example of the book's sense of humor. But the movie kind of had a little bit of movie humor.
It did.
Better way of putting it. There's that whole scene where he's in that tram with these two slutty looking chicks, and he's just you have forgotten the face of your father. It's something straight out of I don't know,
the Voyage Home.
The Voyage Home. Yeah, exactly. Something straight out of the Voyage Home. That, or I was gonna say fuck He-Man, not He-Man. Yes,
yeah, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe. Something straight out of that, but it works.
It did, because that's essentially the kind of story that the Gunslinger is. It's, for the most part, it's a really serious dark fantasy work that is punctuated by these moments of Stephen King's
and the
humor.
movie does a good job of balancing it.
It does.
The thing that I think is the most un-Stephen King of it is its pace. That is way too fast-paced for anything Stephen King.
Yeah. Stephen King books tend to be pretty
especially
methodical.
The later Dark Tower books, where it just kept going going.
Yeah. Holy crap. You just look at the size of the spine and you get intimidated.
I love you, King, but I feel like you needed an editor who was just going to sit there and say, half of this has to go. Just tighten it up. Tighten it up.
It did need to be
tighten them glutes. the other thing is that's filled with so many little like Easter eggs and background details.
Oh yeah, this has what a lot of people don't know is that the Dark Tower series actually essentially is the thing that connects most of the Stephen King stories. It connects
like his Castle Rock universe with some of his other books that aren't in the Castle Rock universe. Yeah, it connects them all.
It connects to the Richard Bachman books. Mm-hmm. It connects to It connects to The Shining. It connects to just about everything. It even connects to the Langoliers.
The movie has nods to that. The fact that the psychic powers in the movie is referred to The Shining.
Yeah.
Like the Shining in The Shining. The fact that like there's a point where he comes across this old like abandoned and decrepit circus essentially. Yeah. And there's like this little Pennywise statue sitting there. Like,
yeah. It's like an arch that just says Pennywise. Yeah. You
know, like there's that, and there's a point where they cross this terminal that's terminal 1408.
Yeah.
Like which I think is the dimensional portal to their world.
Yeah, the dimensional portal to their world is called 1408 as a reference to the King story.
So there's so many little intersections here. And I'm sure even some of the demons are probably monsters from the mist, I would almost guess. So the movie does that, just like the books had so many of those intersections. Like the Man in Black is Randall Flagg from The Stand.
Yeah, from The Stand.
Well, he's one version of Randall Flagg anyway, because he's also Walter and all these other characters, because that character is an interdimensional wizard who has multiple versions of himself.
Yes.
And the gunslinger constantly kills him, and he keeps coming back because there's more than one of him. Like it's crazy. Which, by the way, Matthew McConaughey, my favorite part of the
Matthew
movie.
McConaughey kind of stole the show.
Like, I thought Idris Elba was going to steal the show, but McConaughey rocked the shit out of the role of the Man in Black. Holy fuck.
Bro.
Oh, God, like, there's just so much. And I'm not sure if you're not familiar with the books, if you're going to pick up on some of the real fun stuff. Like, you're going to get the action. You're going to get the basic plot of the gunslinger and this dimension who's hunting this Man in Black, and the kid that is having these visions of them. You're going to get that basic story, but all the extra shit that ties it all together, the fact that there's points where the gunslinger refers to things that happened in the books as part of the backstory for the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't know that unless you read the books, that's what that was.
Yeah, but one of the things that's so amazing about this movie is that at no point are you lost.
It gives you everything you need to keep going. It just does it at a breakneck speed.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I suppose we should probably move on to the spoilers soon. I think this movie is really fucking fun. If you're a Dark Tower fan, you'll most likely be disappointed if you want the books. If you want the books adapted to the screen one for one, that's not this movie. This movie is a sequel, and it feels like it. But outside of that, I think if you're a Dark Tower fan, you're going to fucking love this movie, because I fucking did. If you're not a Dark Tower fan, this could be like the Warcraft movie for a lot of people, where you're just not going to get it.
It's not a bad comparison. You know, like, it had about the same pace, even though it wasn't as long.
Yeah, and also shit ton of information, most of which you're not going to get unless you've read or played the games.
Yeah, exactly. Like, geez, that Warcraft movie felt like it needed to be like a full 3 hours.
Oh God, yeah. And I love that movie, but like you can totally see that like that needed some breathing room too.
That needed some like Lawrence of Arabia kind of treatment.
And this movie has some similar.
Yeah, it does. Even though it didn't need to be that one. This one I felt just needed like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know.
So 2 thumbs up, and let us move on to the spoilers.
Okay, I think the first spoiler we ought to get into is, what do you mean it's a sequel?
Okay, well, I mean, if you read the Dark Tower books, you would be very aware that the story essentially ends with everything resetting and reverting back to square one. Because you basically find out that, oh shit, at the end of the books you realize, this is just one iteration of this journey. Yeah. Roland goes on this journey over and over again because he keeps making the same mistakes, and as a result, he keeps coming back to the gunslinger wanders out into the waste and chases the Man in Black.
Yeah, the Man in Black
because the
Man in Black runs into the wasteland.
The opening
and the gunslinger follows.
Yeah, the opening sentence of the first book of the Gunslinger is the last sentence of the books, the final sentence of everything, because it all starts all over again.
Yep.
So this movie is that next story.
Yeah.
It's the next incarnation of the same story. So it has a lot of the similar things that happen. For example, he still runs into a kid named Jake. Though in this scenario, it's more like the second Jake he runs into, which Dark Tower books are really complicated.
Yeah.
He meets a kid named Jake. He lets the kid die. And then later he encounters another kid named Jake in another dimension, which is our dimension. And much like in this movie, he has all these visions of the Dark Tower and the Gunslinger because the memories of the old Jake are in him.
Yes.
And the Gunslinger's also having the memories.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that in the books, they meet Stephen King.
For the movie, they made his visions be less because of that and more because of his shining abilities, which, that was fine.
Yeah.
That worked. That was fine with me. Anytime you get a chance to reference The Shining, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, they even referenced the Overlook Hotel.
They did.
Briefly.
They did. And I'm sure there's a shit ton of references that I didn't even catch. You know?
Yeah.
Because there's so many little awesome background details throughout this whole fucking thing. So, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, it's such a weird story to spoil because it's a weird story.
Because there's so much to spoil, not just for the movie, but for the books, if you want to read them and know what leads to this.
God, yeah. Well, I think the best way to do it is that there's this critical moment at the end. I know this part. There's a critical moment at the end of the story where Roland kills Jake.
Yeah.
In an attempt to stop the cycle, but it fails.
Well, one of the things oh man, it's been so long since I read it, but one of the things that often happens is that, like, basically the story of Roland is that he is so dead set on revenge that anyone that follows him will eventually die in the pursuit of that vengeance.
Yeah.
Because they'll eventually become either a, not a nuisance, but like a liability, or they'll become something in the way, or he'll have to sacrifice them in order to move on to the next stage of getting the Man in Black.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get back at the Man in Black for everything that happened to his dad and yada, yada, yada. Backstory to the backstory.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a whole book that's just that backstory. So basically, by the end of the story, he does it again. Like, he ends up losing everyone again. I can't remember if he actually has to kill him, but he definitely lets everyone die.
Yeah.
Again. And because he makes that choice, when he does get the Man in Black, it reverts back to 1.
Yep.
It reverts back to square one because once again, he let them die in his pursuit. That was more important than the journey, and that's why he keeps going back to square one. And here's the thing. When you're reading the books, it becomes this great revelation, like, oh, that's what happened at the end of the first book. That's why at the end of the first book, he lets Jake die, and then gets the Man in Black, and then at the beginning of the second book, it's like it all starts all over again.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. The first book is one incarnation of that journey, and then the next book is, and the next series,
the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is kind of like a video game that he keeps replaying until he gets
He's
like
in a loop.
perfect score.
But it's not a perfect loop. It's a slightly different journey each time, but he runs into the same people more often.
Yeah. Things change.
You know, and it's always comes down to a showdown between him and the Man in Black, and he keeps sacrificing people. And what I loved about this movie, since we're in the spoiler section, this is the story where he doesn't do that.
Yes.
This is the story where he saves the kid and defeats the Man in Black.
Yep.
You know, this is the story where the end of the journey is not the beginning of the
It Roland moves to the next stage of his journey, as opposed to starting it all over again. You know,
and in this particular incarnation, you can tell it's because of the previous ones.
Yeah.
He let the old Jakes die. Now, they never go into, because that would be too complicated for the people.
That would be too complicated for the first movie.
Yeah, for the first movie, if you have not read the books, going into the fact that some of his old friends that he let die, that the Man in Black taunts him with, are you going to tell him about the old crew? Are you going to tell him about the old crew? And you're like, well, the old crew included Jake.
Yeah.
You know, Jake was part of the old crew. But they don't go into that detail for this movie just because that detail would be a little complicated. Like,
yeah, I don't know what they're planning on doing. I know they're planning on doing an extended universe thing.
Well, they're going to do a series, like one of those 12-episode series things.
Oh, that'll work.
But I don't know if that's going to be a continuation of the movie or if that's going to be the books. If it's going to be the backstory to the movie, and they'll do that.
Well, are they getting the same actors?
Idris Elba's there. I don't know about everyone else, but Idris Elba is going to be the gunslinger.
Well, Good enough.
I don't know about McConaughey or the boy, but I would assume as much.
Yeah.
But then again, I heard the movie didn't do too well at the box office this last weekend, so who knows if we're going to see that series.
Which is really too bad, because like I'm looking at this and I'm like, this isn't a bad movie.
No, but I can also tell it might have been just a hard sell. It's like, oh, it's a Western, but it's a fantasy, and you know Americans are weird with that
the thing I think made it a hard sell is that critics fucking panned it like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, God, and it's unfair. This movie does not deserve the lashing it got. This movie's really fun.
Yeah.
No, like, even if you're a huge fan of the books and you want all the details of the books and you want everything, this is a pretty well done movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say other than, like, sure, if you wanted the books 1-to-1 onto the screen, it's not that.
Oh, yeah.
But that would also have been fucking ridiculous to
just
do.
Fucking trying to do the gunslinger alone in one movie, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
You could probably for like a 2.5-hour movie do the original Gunslinger book. The thing is that I'm not sure if that would be a blockbuster movie. Correct. Because as much as I like that book is way more Western than it is action. That book is Gunslinger wandering the wastelands, comes across this kid, befriends the kid. It's a little lone wolf and cubby. He has a couple action sequences where like a village is under attack and he fights the thing in the villages. But like the final conflict, the final confrontation with the Man in Black in that story is them stuck in a cave with no way out, dying of old age together. That's
yeah.
That's the final confrontation with the Man in Black in that first book, which works great for a book, especially in the first book of a series where things are going to keep going. But that doesn't sound like the epic final confrontation you want in a movie.
No.
You want the confrontation like you get in this movie where like the Man in Black's using his powers and he's shooting him and they're like going back and forth. But you weren't going to get that if you did the first book, unless you changed that ending.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Matthew McConaughey did really embody that character.
Jesus, he fucking rocked. Oh man, you know, like I always liked. Like it's one of the few things I really liked about that Shining miniseries was their Randall Flagg. But
you mean The Stand?
Yeah, The Stand. Yeah. Sorry, not The Shining. The Randall Flagg in that series was pretty good. Jim Sheridan, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. I liked him in that, but I feel like Matt McConaughey nailed it. Like he
did. Well, like how to put it, like, if all of a sudden they decided to adapt, like, The Eyes of the Dragon and fucking put Matthew McConaughey in again, I would watch it. Oh, man. I mean, that'd be a weird one. I don't know if people would know what to do with that story.
There's a lot in the Dark Tower universe that I'm just like, whoa, how would you do this?
Yeah.
How would you do this?
Yeah, fucking...
I do want the Lobstrosities, though.
I would love to see
totally
that.
like the Lobstrosities.
I fucking love that shit. Well, I mean, that's why they had them in Fallout 4.
No, yeah, big fucking crab thing.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh, it's fucking like New England and Maine. Fucking, we gotta have giant lobsters that kill people.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking like in the fucking Gunslinger.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, Lobster Man.
Man, I enjoyed this as a fan. Like much like Warcraft, it was something I've been waiting for a long time. And while it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, I wanted the fucking books like Harry Potter style adapted on the fucking
that would have been the dream.
But not getting that, this was a really good movie.
Yeah, it was a really solid flick.
And even though it's a sequel, it still stands alone.
Like, you're not going to get lost. It's a really good... This, to me, is a modern, like, B-movie.
B-movie is a good way to put it.
You know, it's like, it's a really high quality B-movie.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to walk away going, well, that movie was poorly made and made no sense.
No.
You know,
it's probably not going to be your favorite movie of the year.
Probably not.
There's going to be much more high quality movies. Like, there's going to be movies like Get Out or like just these phenomenally constructed pieces of art. But this movie, like, grab some popcorn and have a good time, you know?
Yeah. I hope it finds its audience.
I hope like Warcraft and Pacific Rim, it finds its audience.
Yeah, because it does deserve to. And I got really mad at the fact that so many other critics just blanket panned the movie. I'm like, I'm watching it. I mean, I was really trepidatious. Like, I'm like, oh God, all right, strap in. And I'm watching it in that first 10 minutes. I'm like, actually...
As it kept going, I'm just like, Oh,
this is pretty good.
Oh yeah, I like this kid.
Well, the moment we actually get the voiceover
that actually does the opening line.
Yeah, that does the opening line. The man in black goes into the wasteland, and the gunslinger follows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the minute you hear that, you're like, oh shit, we're here. It's happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so many great highlights. Fucking the fight that the kid has with the demon in the house is pretty good.
Oh, that was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't shy away from shit, which was nice. It was just, you could tell, all right, look, we got to find a way to get this into 90 minutes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, the action isn't like Raid or John Wick levels, but it's pretty good action. It's pretty good. Like, I wasn't lost during any of the action sequences.
Well, it didn't feel like... There's some action sequences in some movies we've been watching where I'm like, oh my god, fucking get it over.
Get it over with. What's happening? Who's that? What's this? What's that? I can't tell what's going on. My head hurts.
Yeah.
I didn't have that problem with this movie.
No,
I could follow everything that was happening. The gunslinger came across like a fucking expert.
Yes.
Marksman the way he should. And he kicked ass.
I fucking love.
And the kind of cool little things he does with his gun.
Yeah. That to me was like, that was it.
And it wasn't like gun kata level of ridiculousness, but it was like,
I don't know how they did, I don't know how they did the effect, but basically every time Idris Elba loads the gun, it's like they had him do it in slow motion and then
sped it
up while the rest of him was in normal motion. He's like,
it'll. I don't know how they did that effect, but
when he had the one where he had to load the thing by spinning the barrel while fucking plunking the individual bullets on his belt,
or throwing them in the air and then catching them with the gun. Like, it's well, I also just kind of like the way he fired the gun. Like Idris Elba, his acting, like he fired every time he fired the gun, he had this particular way of holding it and like recoiling it that was different from everyone else.
Yes. Yeah, because it's magical.
Yeah.
You know?
And I always liked it because it always looked really cool when he did it. And I also liked that he used his guns like they were knives and swords. Like there were times where he was like shooting people and he would like shoot them like really up close like this, and it was like he just stabbed them. Like it was like
that was the whole idea. It was
because he's a knight.
Because he's a knight. The idea of having a cowboy gunslinger as part of a knightly order.
Well, yeah,
which is a really cool idea.
Basically, his universe, they're like Knights of a Round Table kind of scenario, like King Arthur and the Knights.
Yeah.
And he's one of those knights, but they're gunslingers.
Yeah, and this is a concept occasionally they try to put in RPGs that they never quite pull off, and I don't know why. Because I'm like, but we have the perfect example right here in this book. Just do that. Just do that. And everyone's happy. That's the gun mage. Just do it.
Essentially gun mage.
Yeah. Oh, man. I really like this movie. Like, probably not top 10 of the year, but
probably not. Like there's a lot of movies I've seen already this year. They're like The Void, like Get Out, even Guardians 2. Like there's a lot of movies I've seen this year that I would put way above it. But this is definitely
but to say that this is a bad movie and you shouldn't bother, this is
not Transformers. This is not any of that crap. This is
this one of those not crap at all.
If most like throwaway blockbusters were of this quality, throwaway blockbusters would not have a bad name.
No, no, they would not. They'd have a very good name. Be like, yeah, that's solid entertainment.
Exactly.
Let's fucking go. You know, and the funny thing is that there was one thing that happened where I was like, oh, people aren't going to get this.
Mm-hmm.
It was the whole fear that Jake had of being committed to the asylum, because that's a bit more of an 80s thing.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
You know, like they make this big deal about, because he's got The Shining.
Yeah.
He seems crazy, but the thing is he doesn't seem crazy for a kid today where everyone's like heavily medicated.
Yeah, heavily medicated, and imagination isn't seen as kind of frightening.
Yeah, but in the like 70s and 80s, like imagination and that kind of thing was really demonized.
Yeah.
Like they really hated it, and the fear of like your parents sending you off to like the asylum, that was fucking super
That does
real.
seem like that. Yeah, I can totally see that. It still kind of came across in the movie though, because you
get it.
You get him telling all these stories to his shrink and stuff like that, and then everyone, you can see how everyone would be like, oh, you know, maybe there's something going on up there. He seems to, because he doesn't seem to think this is like fantasy. He seems to think it's real. Like,
yeah.
his vision of fantasy and reality seems to be blurred, not in the way a normal kid's is. You know?
Yeah.
You know, but it turns out it is real.
Yeah, but it turns out it's real. Like, oh, geez, fucking McConaughey killing his mom. Oh, whoa, that was brutal.
You feel bad,
but you don't even watch it happen. You just feel how brutal it is. You feel
bad that she dies, but you also sit there and go like, yeah, but you were totally an accomplice in everything shitty in this kid's life.
Yeah.
Even though you were doing it all for his better good, in your opinion, or at least you thought.
Yeah.
And even though you loved him, you still let that stepfather mistreat him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. You're gonna let him put your boy away, you know.
But even so, that scene where the kid comes in, sees the remains, and starts having the vision of what happened.
Yeah.
Made me tear up.
Yeah. And you really, I love the fact that you get the feeling like, why did Randall Flagg do that? It's like, so the kid would freak out.
Yeah, he wanted the kid to start thinking about it so that he'll see it, how it happened. And then once he's doing that, he's using The Shining and then he can track him.
Yeah, exactly. He's putting him in emotionally compromising positions because every time he is emotionally compromised, the Man in Black can locate him.
Because then, like, if you're using your Shining abilities, your telekinetic, not telekinetic, but more like
psychic
abilities, it basically sends out the sonar. You know?
Yeah.
And once they have the sonar, they can track where your location is because you're doing it.
Yeah. This is a world that actually had a pretty interesting and clear... This is a world that has a very clear, like, kind of distinction between psychic powers and magical powers.
Yeah, well,
you know?
Because the fucking... the Man in Black is magic.
Yeah, he's magical.
He's a sorcerer. The kid is psychic.
Yeah.
And you can see the conflict between them two because, like there are moments where, like, he's even surprised at what the kid can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He's very surprised at what the kid can do, but it's very obvious that magic is about manipulation, whereas the psychic powers are all about seeing and, like, pure force of mind.
Yeah.
You know, whereas Randall Flagg can throw a building at you. The kid.
I also got the impression that the psychic powers kind of made him immune to Randall's influences.
To his powers,
Because otherwise, at the end, when he's trying to get him to destroy the tower, he could have just did what he did to everyone else and just tell him to do it. But he couldn't.
Yeah, because there are other kids in this story that have the Shining, but they're not as powerful as Jake, and fucking Man in Black can just command them to use it. You know, but that's one of the things that Randall Flagg does.
When you have a little Carrie there, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. Like, Carrie's supposed to have the Shining, you know, when you get right down to it.
Well, I'm assuming it's some variant.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do it in all one universe like that, I'm assuming it's some variant. Like, there was a moment where I half expected that little girl that he walked by, like what's the matter, Carrie? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I half expected that.
Yeah. And
I'm sure that was a reference to something, and I probably missed exactly what it was, but I half expected
that. Yeah, half expected to be Carrie.
Yeah,
because, like, well, that's the way the King universe actually is.
Yeah.
You know, which is why I'm actually looking forward to those to these Stephen King shows that they're doing.
Oh God, yeah. Castle Rock,
yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I want to see how that.
I heard The Mist wasn't that good, but apparently we're gonna watch a few episodes soon, and we'll let you know.
Yeah,
we'll let you know. I'm gonna watch the fucking Mist series. Help me. Anyway, my friends, I think we've kind of exhausted our opinions here. So check out the Dark Tower movie, and I will provide some sort of Amazon link in the description below for you to do, probably like a poster or something like that. And as per usual, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, my fellow Gorehounds.
Peace.
I'll catch y'all later.